darling. What's the
How
story?
are you? Aloha.
I got a question for you. I only found out this last night, or heard this awesome question last night. If a woman is always right and a man's always wrong, if the man says that the woman's right, is he wrong? Or,
Where's this going?
I just heard it last night, and I even posted up on TikTok there this morning. Um,
hmm
and I don't know. I just thought I was like, I'll ask her. Can you answer that question?
I don't know if I can. It feels like a little bit of a tongue twister.
It's a good one, isn't it?
It is. Say it, repeat it again.
All right. So, if a
If
woman's
a
al-
woman is always right.
if a woman's always right and a man's always wrong, if the man turns around and says, "Yeah, the woman's right," is he wrong? What
Hmm.
do you
I
think?
think it's something I think I'd have to sleep on that one.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Oh my God, I've just spilled. Look at me, the cut of me. If anybody's seeing me on screen, I've just spilled tea all over myself. I swear, I can't leave the house anymore, man. I'm a mess. Look at me. Dribs and drabs everywhere. Jeez, God.
Yeah, I feel it's important for us to maybe like share how we know each other.
Go for it.
It's about 21 years ago, because I was having a moment of reflection. It's about 21 years ago. Yeah,
Wow.
I know. That's wild.
God. Where did we meet? I get.
Wasn't it with like Irish faces
That's right.
down
The
on
modeling thing.
Mercury Street? Yeah.
Oh my Lord. That was 21 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was 15, so I was like, yeah, doing the calculations. I know.
Whoa, man.
Yeah,
Whoa. Geez, so that makes you 37, 36, right?
6. Yeah.
Jeez, man. That's mad.
Yeah.
That is mad. What happened? Have they done anything since that model agency?
No idea, to be honest. I'd say it's probably well done now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a platform that got me started anyway.
Did it? And where did you go from there? Where did it get you?
Um, well, I guess like I ended up going and working with Celia Holman Lee in Limerick after that, with her agency, and then Assets after that in Dublin when I
Assets.
moved to Dublin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of jobs. I remember that even I was trying to get some work and I got Blarney Woolen Mills over the road here, one or two other jobs. But there's just no work for men here like in Ireland. There's nothing, isn't there?
Yeah, I
And
guess so, yeah.
and why do you think that is? Like, why wouldn't you? I mean, if you're going in the business of hiring ladies to model and all that, and I get it, right? I get it where you've got women that are more into fashion than men would be in general, but still, like, I don't get it. Can you explain why it's not as big?
No, I don't have all the answers.
Fair enough.
I've got answers or observations or embodied experiences on many other things, but I guess thinking about why there's not enough modeling for men in Ireland is not really in my sphere of something that I'm reflecting on, to be honest.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And there
That,
is.
that's not really like high on my list of priorities of things to be ruminating about.
I can understand that. But I think didn't they get a bit of a bad name, like some model agencies that there was a few scam agencies around that, oh, we'll get you this, and then they bring you in, they take your headshots with the photographer, quote photographer, and then all of a sudden they just disappear, but they ask you for money. Is that correct?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I haven't personally experienced that myself, but yeah, I just, want to make a bit of money, and anybody that will come through their doors, that they'll, yeah, take some photos and, I guess sell the story of, your daughter or your son or whatever. Yeah, that they're selling something that's not really the truth.
That's not really, yeah, put it nicely, of course.
Yeah. And I just feel like, for example, like, because I left modeling probably about 20 or 21, and I was just like, enough of this bullshit. Like, honestly, this is just, yeah, not for me anymore.
And
Just,
when you say bullshit now, like, I mean, is it the pressure that you're under? You like you've got to be a certain weight all the time, or eating the right food?
well, there's like an aspect of that, but then there's also, I don't know, there's a part of me feels that, it was always, and even now, some of the models, it's still the same models that are like being put forwards again and again. And I feel like, there's background things that are happening there. And so it's not really a fair game
Right.
in a sense. And just like, yeah, different things that like I moved through, in that work. And yeah, you're expected to just like jump. You have a phone call, oh, we want you tomorrow or the next day to be available for something. And but it's not really, especially in Ireland, it's not like super consistent work.
Yeah.
um
And do you think that they choose the same models because they can trust them in terms of as in they've got experience? Like what are the photographers and agencies looking for when it comes to the model? Why are they selecting those ones every time like it?
yeah, I don't know, it's a good question. There can be some background politics that are happening, or yeah, people being connected to certain people, you know there's an aspect of that as well, I feel.
And when you say the politics, what kind of politics now would be involved?
Well, I mean, like, someone is related to someone that has some kind of influence or some kind of power, or they're part of some family, or there's, yeah, you know, a way of, yeah. And on one side, there's nothing wrong with that, but then it's just like, overall, I just feel it's not a super fair industry. And yeah, of course, there's the aspect of, staying or looking a particular way, and maybe if you like put on a little bit of weight, it's just, yeah, there's no real compassion or heart. It can just be really cutthroat. You're either in, you're going to stick to the rules, or you're out.
You know, yeah, because what even when I
you
when
know
I when I was living in LA, I mean, I remember like the actresses, they were under mad pressure. Then you'd have the actresses who turned to modeling, or model turned to actress, and she'd come from New York, obviously, as you know yourself, that New York is where it's at for the modeling. Uh,
yeah,
and then, like, you'd always see them, the girls that they were so used to trying to keep their weight down and like puking up on purpose just to keep their weight down the night before the morning after, or with the morning off of a show, which is nuts.
yeah.
But
Mm,
like the pressure they put on themselves, they actually carried it over to the acting. Then when I saw that, and you could see them, they were in such a, what would you call it, like a pattern, a habit that of
yeah,
of the pressure that they couldn't lift the pressure. And then they're like, some of these girls, I remember watching them, they were melting down. I mean, they'd make one mistake an acting scene, on like you do in an acting class, and they'd almost buckle into tears, and you're like, Jesus, well, you're right, it's only acting practice. But they were just so wound up. It was
yeah.
like, did you feel that type of pressure before, or anywhere near it?
I mean, Ireland, I feel with modeling is like pretty kind of like chilled, but there's still a level and layer of that for sure. And yeah, it was definitely, if something was coming up, I'd be like hyper aware of what I was eating and how I was caring for myself. And yeah, when I look back, there's definitely like the day of, whether it was a photo shoot or it was whatever appearance on TV or catwalk, like I wouldn't really eat that day. I would easily not eat that day.
And would that be because you're keeping an eye on the weight, or you were just so wound up with adrenaline that you couldn't eat, or was it both?
I think probably a combination of both. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. That's
Because
tough.
you don't want to be bloated, and like for example, there like some photographers that I've worked with, and I remember one of them sharing with me of a model that they were working with. And so the night before a photo shoot, like she would actually, yeah, she wouldn't drink any water, and she'd actually take salt so that she'd be more dehydrated, so she'd have more definition in her muscles. And then like she wouldn't eat, and she's just like, dipping her finger into, like, I don't know, some protein powder or something. And there's part of me, I'm like, the aspect of like even sharing that, it's like how it can go into like not just young women and young men, but even like grown adults that, feeling the pressure of being a certain way and looking a certain way. Because I feel like it's actually really scary. And like I had an eating disorder for years, and like I don't necessarily feel it was due to like modeling. Like sure, there's like an aspect of that, um but it was more around the fact of um yeah, pushing down emotions that I didn't know how to deal with at the time. And
And
now I have developed skills and tools to support myself in that. But managed to like guide myself out of an eating disorder. Like it was a whole process. It was a very slow process. Um, but yeah.
well, that's actually interesting. I want to get your insight into how you got out of that now, right? But the like what exactly would be an eating disorder in terms of, are you not eating for days on end? What's
It would go like extremes. So, if something came up, if something was bothering me and I didn't know how to deal with it, I would like eat food. I would eat a lot of food to kind of like push down the emotion, to pacify basically. And then I would, yeah, make myself vomit. So it was bulimia that I had. And then I would go to like the extreme of then like wanting to go on a really strict diet. And
right?
so it was like the extremes that like never really work out. But it's not that it wasn't like an everyday thing. But if I was faced with something really challenging in my life, it was like at the time that I felt like that was the only way that I could deal with it. Um, and on the other side, because I was a personal trainer, I was also like another way of dealing with my emotions was like over exercising. So I was like quite extreme, but there's part of that is part of my personality as well. So I'm like a double Aries, so that's like double fire. And then I have a Virgo rising, which is like the perfectionist. So it's like there's an aspect of that within me. But now what I'm like coming to realize, and this is like what I offer in my passion, in my gifts, in all of this embodied experience that I've moved through, is finding like the potency in the subtleties. So instead of the same fire that gets you going is the same fire that burns you out. It's finding simple ways, simple, gentle rituals and practices, consistent practices that really support you in staying in alignment with your soul's highest expression.
Okay. Yeah.
If that makes any sense to you.
No, it doesn't. But can you explain it to for the listeners and viewers what exactly this all is? I was going to ask you about this anyway,
Yeah,
but it's not now. So
yeah. So, for me, what it really comes back down to is communicating with yourself, noticing, catching yourself when an emotion is arising within, when you're feeling triggered by a situation, a scenario, a friend, a family member, a lover, whoever, catching it and actually naming it.
naming it.
Naming it. So for example, there's a situation and it's like, I'm feeling really angry right now. Like, what someone has done, right, creates a reaction within me. And so if I can recognize, okay, I really feel like you've crossed my boundaries and that's making me feel really pissed off. But it's with that emotion, what happens is we begin to make up stories in our minds based on past experiences and situations in our life. And it's kind of like we are reliving that. And so if we can catch it and name it and use the words, the stories I'm making up in my head are this, this, and this, you can bring clarity to the situation. And so then that can be moved through your body, through breath, through movement, even through like a little bit of shaking, using some oils, journaling, there's going for a walk out in nature. So rather than allowing yourself to be traumatized or re-traumatized by a situation and it getting stored in your body and causing dis-ease in your body, you're naming it and then you're able to move it through your body. So that, because emotion is energy in motion.
Emotion is
Energy in motion.
Emotion is energy in motion.
Yeah.
Huh, I never heard that one before.
Yeah.
I like that. That's emotion is energy in motion.
Yeah. So if you think about, like, for example, we'll say a dog or a cat, like I've got a dog. And, if something happens, like, I don't know, I was going for a walk with him earlier and he stopped to like sniff something. I didn't see him like stop and I ended up kicking him, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And then he just, you see them, they shake it off. And
Yeah.
so that is something that, in a sense, is not acceptable in our society, that if you get traumatized by something, that you begin to shake. So we have this muscle in our groin. So it's kind of from the lower back to the front of the hip. It's called the psoas. And this is known as the seat of the soul. And so this is where trauma can actually be stored. And the thing is, with this muscle, it actually, if we were not so, in a sense, like domesticated, if we get traumatized by something, we would actually shake. But
Yeah.
now that's
Yeah.
not really acceptable for the most part in society.
Okay.
So if we have something, then we can actually like shake it out, physically shake it out. And then there's different practices that it's called TRE. So it's trauma release like technique. So you're actually stimulating this shaking so that your knees actually begin to shake, your hips begin to shake, and it's supporting and releasing trauma from your body.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And how much of a shake do you get?
It can get quite deep. Like, for example, I mean, a lot of work that I've been moving through, and one of the first form of therapies that I went to support myself with was it's called rebirthing. So it's holotropic breath work. So you go into, so the way it works is that there's no pause between the inhale and the exhale when you're breathing.
So you're.
So more through the mouth, yeah. And so basically what happens if we have, for example, you're in a car crash or you get a fright, what happens? You hold your breath, and then trauma gets stored in your physical body. And so with this technique, with there is no pause between the inhale and the exhale, it's actually bringing any trauma that has been stored in your body to the surface. And it's a really, really powerful technique. Like, breath is the greatest tool that we have to support ourselves moving through all of life. You know, without breath, there is no life. But the reason why I'm sharing this with you is that through this practice and through many different breathwork practices that I've done, ones that are laying down, like I guide with other forms where you're sitting up. But what can happen is, because you're moving through emotion that's been stored in your body, your hips and your legs begin to shake by themselves. And that's actually releasing the trauma from your body, from the psoas in particular.
Jeez, yeah, because I remember I watched this. It's on YouTube with Joe Rogan podcast, and there's a UFC guy called Rickson Gracie. I think it's Rickson Gracie, and this guy was a legend. Like, he was one of the first to ever really like hit big success in UFC. But he was talking about breathing, his breathing technique during fights, and he even said that he won a lot of fights simply because it wasn't that he had the best punch, the best knee, the best headbutt. It was because he controlled his breathing. So when they got to that peak level of, let's say, you're really in the scrap, the adrenaline's flying, but he was able to, before he got into that heightened mode of adrenaline, that he had his body so relaxed that it was 10% or whatever, 10% less stress than the other guy, that when he got to that peak, he had that extra 10% then in the can, because he got the breathing, whatever he did, right down, controlled, relaxed. So he came from I suppose not, like a car overheating, he came from a cool car instead of an overheated car. And like, what kind of breathing techniques now would you use every day? Would you do an everyday breathing technique to keep yourself relaxed? Okay. What would you do?
Yeah, I mean, I have lots of different breath works that I do.
Go for it. We want to learn.
There's so many. Like, I mean, I could go on for hours.
Right.
Oh yeah, like there's yogic breath work that I do. And so, like, the way I teach yoga is that it's a breath centric practice. So the most important thing is for you to stay connected to your breath. And like the asanas, they're just 10% of the practice. And so asanas, so the postures.
Okay. Yeah.
The different postures in yoga, they're just 10% of the practice. So the way I teach is that it's all about developing a conscious relationship with your spine and how your breath is directly affecting your spine and how you're feeling.
Okay.
Because the moment that we actually, sit up tall, we roll our shoulders back, we open the chest, we're opening our capacity in our lungs to breathe.
Yeah.
And it's instantly bringing us more confidence and more energy in our bodies. So like a very basic breath in yoga is the ujjayi, is the ocean breath. So you're inhaling and exhaling through the nose, and you're breathing into the back of the throat, and you're making like a gentle little hissing sound. People say it sounds like Darth Vader.
Like kind of like sort of
yeah, almost like that, but breathe into the back of the throat. I don't know if you can like hear me doing it. It's like I don't know if you can hear. Can you?
I can hear you. Yeah. So in through the nose, out through the nose.
In and out through the nose. Yeah. And so here, like the nose, the hairs in our nostrils are actually filtering the air that's coming in through our bodies, and it's coming more directly into our lungs as well. And they say as well that breathing through your nose even changes your bone structure in your face. But
Bones?
there's, yeah, yeah.
How? What? How do you mean?
I don't know. I don't know the science behind that, but it changes everything.
As in
And you can really,
it de-stresses you? That sort of thing?
yeah, well, like inflammation, like bloating, if you're breathing properly, your whole body is going to be functioning so much better. So like that's just a really simple breath, the ujjayi, the ocean breath. And then like I'm also certified in a breath work that's
And
called pyramid breath.
sorry, can I just interrupt you there? Sorry, one second.
Yeah.
And for anybody that's listening and watching, if they want to try that, how long do you do that for? And how many ins and outs are, what's your routine?
Well, like right now at the moment, it's like for me, it's like the power of three. Okay. So whether you can do that for 3 breaths, just 3 cycles of breath, or 3 minutes. And it's just all about finding small ways that you can incorporate these things into your life.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like the invitation when I'm like guiding and coaching people. Like one thing is like if someone asks you something, before you answer them, take 3 breaths.
Okay.
Before you go do the next thing, just take 3 conscious breaths. Because it's in the subtleties and it's about, yeah, it's just the subtleties is like constantly bringing yourself back out of the monkey mind, coming into the heart, into the body, coming back to the breath, like using your exhalation to support you and coming back to the present moment. Because the thing is, the reality is like so many of us, and myself included, it's a constant thing to just keep bringing yourself back because we get so caught up in our minds. What happened yesterday? What we need to do later today? Oh, this person said this to me. Oh, I said that. I shouldn't have said that. You're constantly up in the monkey mind of planning and organizing. So we really, really, the invitation is to take moments where you slow things down and you consciously breathe. Because the thing is, our mind sometimes can be a really beautiful place, but can also be not such a beautiful place. And the inner critic and how we're speaking to ourselves, the inner narrative. And if we keep catching ourselves and nip it in the fucking bud, yeah, if we keep nipping it in the fucking bud and bringing ourselves back, it's really going to support our nervous systems and we'll be able to really express from a centered and grounded place. Yeah, rather than really reacting, we're able to give ourselves a space to take action in our lives.
And
So yeah.
and like even that one there now, the repetition, the power of three. Are you taking maximum breath in through the nose and like really fill your body up and then push it all the way out, or breathe it all the way out? Like, is it maximum to maximum?
Yeah. So the way, like, is the best way to start is like beginning by focusing on the exhalation. So like fully empty your lungs. Yeah. And allow the inhale to take care of itself. And just slow it down. And the thing is, of course, like you can count to 4, or the way I love to invite people in, instead of counting to 4 as you're breathing in, I am so loved. As you're breathing out, I am so loved. So it's just inviting in
I like
a
that.
bit of magic, a bit of spaciousness.
Actually, I feel a bit more relaxed, I have to say, just doing those 3 breaths I just did. I'm serious. I actually feel a little bit more
Yeah,
headspace. Yeah, almost.
yeah, more grounded.
Yeah, geez, I'd really recommend that to anybody. That I feel like I've literally just injected oxygen into my brain with that one. Because I always, you see, as you know, I used to race cars, so like I have my own breathing technique for the cars, whereas I'm kind of
Yeah,
really trying to fill up the gut. But I never knew about that breathing exercise now, going in the nose and out the nose. I always thought it was in the
yeah,
nose and out the mouth. I always thought that.
yeah. That's just another breath.
Another,
I mean, there's so many. Like, there's another one that I mean, there's so many. There's ridiculous amount of ways that you can breathe, of different ways, different tools to support you for different times.
well,
So
okay.
another one
Well, like,
is like breathe through the left nostril, just the left nostril,
oh,
inhaling and exhaling through the left nostril. And so that is connecting you to feminine, lunar. It's also warming or no, it's cooling. It's cooling. So it's soothing down the nervous system. And so it's really bringing you into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is all about resting and digesting. And it's actually a way as well to support anybody that can have some like compulsive behaviors, even specifically related to food. And the reality is that there's such a high percentage of human beings on earth that have disordered eating or have some compulsions towards certain things, whether that is coffee, chocolate, smoking, behaviors. There's so much of that that's out there because we're
and
trying to like regulate ourselves and soothe ourselves with different things. But yeah, left nostril breathing helps support that.
okay. And then what about the right? Is there one for the right? If you hold the right.
Um, you can. I then move more into alternating nostril breathing. So you're breathing in through the left, closing the left, breathing out through the right, in through the right, close, out through the left.
Yeah, almost like a freak doing this on screen.
I mean, I'd prefer to actually like properly guide you on something rather than like.
Am I doing that right? Am I doing that right? The in the
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's important to actually like guide something, so that you're doing it correctly. Because like right now, I'm just speaking about it rather than actually like opening up a space to really deepen into a practice to open the space for that. But yeah, there's
Can you guide me on this one?
alternating nostril breathing.
Yeah. Can you do that on
Yeah.
screen? Is
Okay.
that yeah? Go on, go for it. Okay.
Of course. Okay. So we're going to begin by sitting up nice and tall. Rolling the shoulders back and down. Just take a moment to close your eyes. And here is just the invitation to align your spine with the divine so that you are a clear channel. And then from here, taking your middle and index finger in between your eyebrows. You're going to close the right nostril with the thumb. Inhaling through the left nostril.
Sorry, close my
Close the right nostril with the thumb.
the thumb.
Inhaling through the left. Closing the left side with the ring finger, retaining the breath. Releasing the thumb, exhaling through the right side. Inhaling through the right side. Closing the right side with the thumb, holding the breath. Releasing the ring finger, exhaling through the left side. Again, inhaling through the left. Closing the left side with the ring finger, retaining the breath. Releasing the thumb, exhaling through the right side. Again, inhaling through the right side. Closing the right side with the thumb, retaining the breath. And then releasing the ring finger, exhaling through the left side. So it's inviting you to continue for a few more cycles in your own time. Relaxing the jaw, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the hips. And inviting in the affirmation, I am so loved. I am so loved. And then you can finish your next cycle by exhaling through the left
Oh
nostril.
shit! Sorry, I gotta say, my eyes were, because I actually had a Chinese last night, and I'm allergic to MSG, so I'm trying to treat myself right now.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I tend to get serious bags under my eyes, and they well up with allergic foods I get allergic to, and I can actually feel them clear up.
Yeah.
And I can feel my feet tingling too, in a good way, tingling.
Well, this is like, so when you're noticing any sensations in your body, sensations are the way that your body are communicating to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that little tingling in your feet, it's like, okay, your body is coming a bit more alive. There's more
Mhm.
circulation through your body. You might feel your cheeks a little bit warm. And it's just like, it's noticing the subtleties, the
Yeah.
small shifts and changes in your body, these like somatic responses.
Yeah. My head feels a lot clearer now.
Ta-da, magic.
Because I was drinking and having a Chinese last night, so I'm a little bit
Of course.
today. Jesus, that's definitely helped.
Yeah. And so that's just like the simple thing of just like a few minutes of breath. And like I was sharing, like I'm trained in this breath work. It's transformational breath work. It's called pyramid breath play method.
Okay.
And so it has a tantric and a somatic base to this breath. And so it's transformational, but you're sitting up, because a lot of transformational breath work, you're laying down and you end up going into a dream state and into like dream time. But when you stay sitting up tall, you're staying more present, you're staying in your body, and it's actually a little bit easier for it to be integrated into your body, the process. And so, like the tantric aspect of it, that you're actually, so you're undulating your spine. And so this is actually moving our sexual energy, our creative energy, our life force energy through our spines.
And what are you, sorry, what are you doing there
Uh,
with your spine? Kind of.
I'll
I
show
know
you.
it probably looks like we're having sex on screen here, like.
Well, it's pretty juicy.
Okay.
So it's like your hands are onto your thighs, and it's like this movement.
Okay.
And so there's three layers there's three layers of breath. So the first one is like in through the mouth, out through the mouth. Okay. So it's like, but you're also making a big sigh as you're exhaling, and you're opening your mouth, you're opening your jaw. And this is a somatic release from the jaw, where is also stored in our hips. Again, coming back to the psoas. And in our hips, we're carrying things from the past that are no longer serving us. So this is helping to release that. So it's like,
Jesus, man.
ha, ha, ha. I know it's a bit wild, but it's so potent. And I
Jeez.
know, like, for example, like, Ireland and expressing this way, but it's so important because the thing is, if this energy stays at the base of our spine, it can actually cause chaos in our lives.
Well, as
So the thing is, it's moving this energy through your body, so it's actually bringing you to life, and that you're allowing, instead of like suppressing this energy down, allowing it to move through so that you can create in your life, whether that is with a podcast, whether it's with art, creating food, decorating your home, how you dress. It's allowing this creative energy to flow through your being so that you're embodied and you're empowered and you're able to speak your truth and be authentic as you move through life.
wow,
Yeah.
wow, just yeah.
Yeah.
I
There's a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're kind of reigniting my belief in all these things, and anybody that's listening or watching, I'm not saying, oh yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Like trying to BS people. I'm not. I really do believe in these things. Even for me, like when I was racing the cars, like you get into a certain battle situation, and your life's on the line, the adrenaline starts going up. And and you're very aware, very self-aware when you're driving the car about your breath, everything, because you've got to,
Yeah.
and especially when you're almost panting, you've got to really sort of, kind of like you're sighing there a second ago, and like that's what I would do, and I'd be almost not screaming in the car, but I would be like, kind of just pushing out sort of the. Not pushing out, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, well, focusing on the exhalation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. For me,
Yeah,
it was a lot
that-
with
you're just releasing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and it was
yeah.
very,
But
very important for everything,
yeah,
concentration. I mean, you're changing gears oh about 600-700 times, up down, up down,
yeah,
up down, up
well,
down. Yeah, I mean the Formula One guys have got more gears. They've got 8 gears where I had only 4. So for them, they're doing
mhm,
thousands upon thousands of gear changes in a longer race. So I mean, even just
mhm.
one slight mistake, and that can come down to your breath. Some guy comes up in the inside of you, and you didn't see him coming. You could.
Yeah,
Yourself, like we can kind of tense up a little bit, and before you know it, your breath actually got you.
your body is now in a certain way. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And you're tense. You're tense.
exactly. And then that's also another thing. So, our fascia. Have you
Fascia?
heard of fascia?
No,
Yeah.
no.
So fascia is basically like cling film that wraps each muscle fiber, wraps each muscle. Yeah. And then there's like these sheets of this cling film, fascia, that like goes from the top of the head all the way down the front of the body to the soles of the feet, from the soles of the feet up the back of the body. There's also side fascia on the side across our bodies as well. We've got fascia in our pelvic floor, in our diaphragm, on the palate of our mouth, over our eyelids. And so fascia it's actually the structure of the body. But it's also known as the issues in the tissues and the mind of the body. So in either physical or emotional responses in our bodies, we have responses. So that could be, to hunch over, and then this can stay stuck into our bodies and then form characteristics in our personalities if we don't know how to support ourselves in releasing the fascia.
So,
And
sorry.
so,
So the fascia is what is it exactly? Is it the energy? Is it or the
no,
result?
no, no, it's like cling film.
cling for.
that wraps around our muscle fibers, our muscles, and then there's actually sheets of fascia that goes all around our body.
Which is stress in a way, are good positive vibes.
Um, well, I mean, it's the structure of the body, but what can happen is when we have physical or emotional triggers, our body goes into a response. So
Right.
that can be either example of being bent over, or you can be hyperextended as well. Yeah, so it just depends what way your body actually responds to that. But the reason why I'm bringing that is because, like, our diaphragm, when we are breathing, we're actually massaging ourselves from the inside. And when we're breathing into our diaphragm, we're actually massaging our hearts from inside as well. And this is really soothing the nervous system. It's helping to activate the vagus nerve and vagal tone as well, so that we're able to deal with stresses and emotions in a more smooth and easeful way.
Oh, and what is that? I've heard of the vagus nerve actually. I can't remember. What is the vagus nerve again?
So it's this big nerve that's
Yeah.
kind of like going from your ears, your jaw, all the way down your neck. It's called the wandering nerve. It comes down your arms a little bit as well, down the center of the body into the groin, and a little bit down the thighs as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so activating this is just really bringing us, like I was sharing about, from the sympathetic nervous system, fight and flight, into the parasympathetic nervous system, resting and digesting. And so this isn't just about digesting food, it's also about being able to digest situations, scenarios, and emotions in our lives that are coming to the surface.
Fascinating, man. Fascinating.
I
And
know.
how many years have you studied breath work?
Breath work. That's a good question. I mean, from like my days of like personal training, it was like there is an aspect of breath work in that, because it's really important to breathe properly if you're lifting weights or you're doing specific exercises.
Very true. Very true.
So an aspect to that. So, I guess, close to like 16 years.
Oh
But
wow.
even before that, like, just want to touch on a point. Like, I remember, I'd say it was about 10, and my mom found out that there was this Russian doctor was going to be giving a lecture in UCC about oxygenation. So he was like very specialized in oxygen in the body and breath.
Okay.
And so he was after doing so many studies about if we're breathing properly, and he was really specific about breathing through the nose, that we can heal our bodies. If we're breathing properly, we can heal our bodies. Because if we're not breathing properly, the oxygen isn't going into our lungs, it's not properly going into our bodies, into the heart, and all of our organs, our skin, our hair, everything. If we're not breathing properly, we're not actually functioning properly.
And how
So
many? You were saying that there's loads of different types of breathing exercises now. How many do you
mhm.
think that you know? Like, are you talking hundreds of different types, or 50 odd, or
Um, let me see. I've never actually counted them. I'm like, that's a typical like man thing. Tell me the facts. How many types of breath work do you know? I'm like, I just pick them and choose them as I feel.
But like, would you
Um,
roughly think it's about 50 odd or something, or it could be more than that, do you think? Best guess?
I'd say I'd say more around 20 to 30.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's completely random, but because it's like there's the part, that I'm a Pilates teacher as well. And so the breath for Pilates is very different to yoga. It's a very different breath
Okay.
to anything else,
And by the
you
way,
know?
for people that were watching and listening, Fiona was teaching me in Pilates, and she kicked my ass, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. She's a great teacher. Absolutely brilliant. If you want to do Pilates properly, Fiona's your girl. I'm telling you. Like, and don't get me wrong, because like I know, I won't mention their names, but the other teachers, the instructors that were in the place that we went, where you were my
Yeah.
coach. Like, they were great, and I had them as well as teachers. I think maybe it just comes down to style, maybe, like for me, I liked the where you pushed us hard. I love that. Now I don't like somebody going easy on me, and I think that's the best way. No pain, no gain. Progress, progress, progress,
Mm.
progress. And I have to admit, I always loved the way there was one or two. Like, I was fairly flexible, and I remember that. But then I'd get to the point of, but like, I have to say, I always loved the way you were very self-conscious about everybody else, that there was one or two that they just didn't have the flexibility, but and then you didn't push them. You kind of went, okay, get to the limit, just get to that uncomfortable pain or whatever I think, did you say, as far as I remember, you were like, feel the pain or feel the uncomfortableness or something? Did you say that to us?
I don't know.
Or no, no, it wasn't pain. I think it was like, okay, just go to that uneasy place or uncomfortable moment and just hold it, lads. Hold it, hold it, hold it. And then you'd hear us. I remember,
Yeah.
I mean, we're in Pilates. You never think people are grown people are going, oh, like,
Yeah.
it was hilarious. God, it was
Yeah.
brilliant.
No, because the outside looking in, it looks like you're not doing a whole lot
Yeah,
with Pilates, like with traditional Pilates. But it's what's going on inside. It's like how quick you can feel like the burn, and
yeah,
then how you actually really feel the effects in your body as well by
yeah,
simple movements. Because it was like Pilates was um built around people that were in hospital and laying in bed, that they weren't actually able to move. So for them to still stay mobile and to maintain some muscle, and it was this really helped to support them.
yeah, yeah. It is.
Yeah.
I did it for, how long did I do it for? Probably about a year and a year, maybe year and a half. And I mean, geez, I even saw, like, even after about 3 weeks, I was going twice a week. And I was even thinking, I need to up my game here, man. I need to be going 3 times a week. But I got a bit lazy, I have to admit. But even going twice a week after about 3 weeks, I noticed even my shoulders, they were just broad as hell and
Mhm.
defined as hell. I couldn't believe it, I have to admit, you know? And I'm not just saying this to anybody that's listening or watching this, like, trying to, oh yeah, he's just trying to sell something. I am not. Pilates, and I have to go back. I've just been lazy. Um, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But,
Yeah.
like, I remember I had it in my head that even I was doing it twice a week, I felt it wasn't enough. How many times a week would you recommend people do Pilates?
um like, it's a good question. I really feel like, starting with something that feels accessible, and also that you feel you're going to be able to be consistent with.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I feel that's really important, because if you set yourself up, it's like, oh, I'm going to do it like 3 or 4 times or 5 days a week, and then you don't make it, you can feel like you've left yourself down. So if you just set and commit yourself, okay, I'm going to go once a week. If I manage to get there a second time a week, fantastic.
Yeah, that's
Then
that's really smart, man. That's really smart. I always say that as
and
well. Like, doing
yeah,
chores or goals, committing yourself. If you put the bar up too high, then you let yourself down, and then you kind of lose a bit of confidence in yourself, a bit of belief, and then of course you get that vicious
Yeah.
snowball effect. Then all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're thinking, oh geez, can I really do this? Or even the next project that comes along, God, can I really do this? So even put the bar low for now for the first step, and put it so low that it's ridiculous, but do it. And then,
Yeah.
okay, well look, I've done
Yeah.
it. Now your belief goes up in your head. Now your confidence is going up. Then go to the next one. That's what I always find. That's really smart of you. I like that. Yeah.
And there's a book that I've just started reading. It's called Atomic Habits. And so it's like there's different phases to move through to find these new habits for yourself. And it's just the example of if you want to be an early riser. So the first phase of that is to make sure you're home by 10 p.m. So that's the first phase. That's the first point. Be home by 10. Then the next phase is making sure you're in bed by 10. Yeah. Then
Right.
the next phase is making sure that you're asleep by 10. And then naturally, the next phase is you're going to be waking up early.
Okay.
And so I feel like the more that I grow and, the more that like I feel as you grow older, the things that you realize because you're managing your energy and what you can actually be consistent with. It's like taking those small steps.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even another thing, it's like just creating this new pattern in your body. So if you want to, start practicing yoga or Pilates, even if you just lay your mat out and get on your mat for like 5 minutes consistently every day for like the first phase, it's like it's just going to create this pattern, this habit. And the thing is, when you begin to create these small habits, then you're naturally going to, for example, maybe drink a little bit more water. And then because you're hydrated, then you'll probably less likely to reach for, sugary snacks to give you a bit of energy or eat more. So it's like this habit stacking as well, that really it's the subtle shifts that are going to really bring you to your desired results rather than ripping it all off. I mean, that I definitely went through for many years. I was like all or nothing. But now it's the reality. It's like, okay, how can you actually be a bit more gentle with yourself and really supporting yourself like you would a loved one or a little child? You'll be encouraging. And again, is coming back to the inner narrative.
Yeah.
What you're saying, like, would you say that to a friend that was, trying something new, or a child that was trying to ride a bike? You'd consistently support them along the way. And the thing is, can you do that for yourself as well?
Yeah. Yeah. And habit stacking. I like that. I like that's a good word, man. Habit stacking. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And what do you and
Yeah.
the benefits? Oh, sorry, I want to go back to Pilates there. The
Yes.
health benefits of Pilates. Can you give us some
The health.
why people should do Pilates?
Well, first of all, I don't like the word should, because that implies an obligation.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, benefits like it's going to strengthen your lower back. It's going to really strengthen your deep core muscles. It's going to improve your posture. Also, like going to a Pilates class, you're connecting with people, you're connecting with the community, and you're feeling you're part of something.
That's true.
And it's also like with Pilates, there's so many things that you need to be connected with in your body. It's giving you your mind a break. It's giving yourself a mental break. And the thing is that as well, and this is something that for me why Pilates is so important for women and for men is to strengthen our pelvic floor muscles. Yeah, because so many pelvic floor, pelvic floor. So the muscles that stop you from going for a wee, you know, when you squeeze and release, squeeze and release. And so many people think it's like, oh, Pilates or pelvic floor muscles are just for people that, or women that are after giving birth, you know, or like later on in life. But it's, our pelvic floor is like the foundations of a house.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so important to work on our pelvic floors because, like I said, it's the foundations. And so if our pelvic floors aren't strong and healthy, then the rest of our organs don't have something to sit on top of. And then to even go to another level with that, it was queens and princesses in China. They used to have a practice with something that's called a yoni egg. So it's a crystal egg, a jade egg, that they would insert into their yonis. Yoni is the Sanskrit word for vulva. And this is actually a way to strengthen the pelvic floor. And the reason why they're doing it, so the background, I didn't see your face, is that, again, coming back to our pelvic region, our pelvic floor, it's housing our life force energy, creative energy, sexual energy. And if our pelvic floor is not in the best state, this energy is going to easily leak out of our bodies. But with exercises, with these jade eggs, they're actually helping to support this energy to move around your body, and that it actually can heal your body. And so even though I was not taught that in the training that I did for my Pilates, like for both mat and reformer, that's just been so important for me to share that with the people that have come to my Pilates classes.
Wow.
It's like, it's so potent. It's so potent.
Yeah.
And there's so many different layers. It's not just about like the physical health of, you know, like literally not pissing yourself, you know, of like having a healthy floor or pelvic floor, but it's also pleasure.
Yeah.
It also enhances your pleasure.
Yeah. And
we all want more pleasure, right?
Sorry, I missed that part.
That we all want more pleasure, right?
One would think so, right? What was I going to say to you? Like, my back now is ruined after motor racing. Ruined. Like from all the G force and everything. Trapped nerves. I'm actually starting to struggle with those now quite a bit, right? Like, even actually, maybe you can tell me this. This is a weird one. When I lie down on my belly, okay, in bed at night, and I do have a kind of a habit of that. I like to be comfortable in my belly, right? And a lot of the time, my left shoulder is not, it's not lying flat, like it's not touching the bed frame, okay? You know, it's kind of still, it's still sort of up in the air a little bit. But all of a sudden, if I lie there for about 2 to 3 minutes, my shoulder starts to get kind of heavy, and then it's almost like I don't know how you describe it. Kind of like like a bit of a pressure on my shoulder. No, and then I actually have to get off my shoulder and have to lie on my side, because then I have to start stretching back my arm, right, back behind my back, and I actually does feel better. Do you know what that is? Is that trapped nerves, or do you know?
It feels a bit too. I would have to like physically feel what's going on.
Right.
Your body. Yeah.
Okay.
But again, it's like, or do you have a regular practice of, tuning into your body and actually working with mobility and connecting with your breath?
I have.
It's all these things because there can be a physical aspect.
Mhm.
So like it's your left, is it your left shoulder?
Left shoulder, yeah.
Yeah. So your left shoulder is linked with your feminine. And it's like, on one side, it's like what are you carrying there, from an emotional aspect? How are you how are
Well,
you good at like receiving? What is your relationship to the feminine? Not just in your life, but your relationship to your feminine within.
okay. So like when you say the feminine, do you mean as in like well wait, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, it's like, the relationship to the feminine is, it's about being receptive.
Right.
Are you open to receiving in life?
Oh yeah. Well, okay. I mean, I'll put it this way: like, if I'm on the same wavelength as you here, like, even with like scrutiny on social media, right? Every day I'd get some good comments, then you get some bad comments, right? And I couldn't care less. Couldn't care less what they say, right? Bad or good. Uh,
Yeah.
no. At the same time, then I suppose anybody that's in my personal life, well, I guess yeah. If somebody's hurt me, or like done me over, which has happened in the past and very very recently, by the way. Somebody thought they were very close to me. So yeah, that did affect me. The last 6 months has been a rough 6 months, very rough. Dealing with other people. So you think that it's just my shoulder could be, as I've got sort of, I'm not handling it very well.
But so like your shoulders, I mean, this is just something that I'm just tuning in
Yeah, yeah.
on an energetic level because like your shoulders are about carrying things. It's like,
Right.
what are you carrying
Okay.
that's no longer serving? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, can you can you take the weight of that off? Can you, take it out? Can you journal about it? Can you let it go?
Right.
Finding way to actually, instead of avoiding the emotion or the hurt or the pain or whatever, can you actually sit with it and face it and move through it?
Yeah, I think what kind of happens a lot of the time, and I don't know if everybody's the same or not, but I think sort of the stages of, I suppose in many ways you can say it's the stages of grief. If somebody betrays you and they're close to you, it's a grieving process, and it's hard to,
This,
yeah. So I think like for me now, what I found was I went into, I think, shock, number one, right? Didn't know what the hell, who the hell is this person? How could they do this? Well, and just up,
sure. Yeah.
up to 99. And then
Mm.
in many ways you kind of go through, I wouldn't say a denial, because I always try to be very self-aware with myself in terms of being honest, upfront, and I'm always one of these guys that, geez, I've cried on so many podcasts I can't even tell you. Like I'm very open with my feelings with things like this. Um, but I think,
Yeah.
that the hurt is so bad for certain situations that I think you kind of go into a bit of a denial that it happened, because you're just not
Yeah.
ready to 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 deal with it yet, because you're not at your strongest. So therefore, I think that's where I would say, and
Yeah.
then the pain of it is stored up in here in my shoulder and
Mm.
ready to be dealt with, I guess. Would I be on the ball here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you feel ready, again, it's like, yeah, taking the time and to, yeah, be kind and compassionate to yourself
Yeah.
and
Well,
holding space for that part of yourself.
any
Yeah.
maybe
But it's like,
this could be a very weird question here now, but I'm gonna ask it. Any tips and tricks on how to be kind to yourself? I'm being serious. Like,
Um, I mean, there's many different ways, but like one way is so taking on this like perspective of having like a love affair with life. And so, how would you treat your partner or your loved one,
if I had a partner, like a
and
wife
see
or a
how
girlfriend.
you can incorporate, yeah, like someone that you love.
Oh,
So then it's actually like doing that with yourself. So that can be the simple thing. Again, is coming back to the internal narrative.
okay.
Yeah, it's like, the internal conversation is like, you know, hey babe, how about we go for a walk and we'll go to our favorite place to have a coffee and, take our book and take a moment, just be, just like really be present. And it's almost like dating yourself. And this is a really beautiful thing to do, whether you're in a relationship or not, is
Yeah.
to actually take yourself on a date. What are the things that you would love your loved one to do for you? It's like I'm always guiding people to like, even when you're in the shower, to like consciously like actually wash your body in the way that you would wash your lover's body.
Ooh, kinky.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like these small little things of like, you know, cooking a dinner for yourself that you would for your lover. Put on some nice music, pour yourself a glass of wine, put on some sensual music,
Mm.
and
Yeah,
kind of like romance yourself.
that's the simple things. Like for me, I love going for walks around
It,
town. Like pick the
yeah,
soaking in the atmosphere, the buzz. I love that. So like, yeah, Peter, be kind to yourself. Go out for a walk, man. For Christ's sake, put on your favorite tunes, whatever. Simple things.
yeah. And it's also like I've been going through a lot of um, intimacy work and polarity work. And so it's like the masculine and feminine, alpha and omega. And there's this beautiful practice that you can do with yourself in a mirror. And so like so this is also is a practice, whether you're doing it with yourself or with a partner or even with a friend, that thing is, they say after 40 days that you're just going to keep falling in more love or rising in more love with yourself or with a partner or with a friend.
Okay. Yeah.
And so like the first part is where you're omega, so you're in your feminine, and you close your eyes down and you begin to name the things that you are feeling in your body, noticing sensations, emotions in your body. So using your using your voice to name your, this is Inti, you met him the other day,
I did.
um to just name what's going on in your physical body, and then either the other person or you can do for yourself to move into the alpha, and then you begin to share what you see. So with the omega, with the feminine, it's like I feel, and then the alpha is saying I see, and just naming the different things that are coming to the surface. And so it's about this opportunity to express, and then also to, in a sense, like validate yourself,
Okay. Yeah.
or to have a partner validate you.
Yeah.
And it's deeply intimate, whether you do that with yourself or with someone else, because, you know, we all just want to be seen and heard for who we are. And presence, I think, is also like being present with yourself.
Yeah. Being present with yourself. Yeah. They're so simple. They're so simple. Those, like, even when you were just saying, about being kind to yourself, I find that fascinating. Sometimes we can get so caught up in all our crap, right, in our heads. Even you just saying, be kind to yourself. Put on the music or wash your body like you'd wash your loved ones. And then I just went, yeah, Peter, you love going for walks, so just go for a walk. I find that
Yeah.
mind blowing, the way we can all just get so caught up, man, and we forget the duh, Peter. Hello, I could have told you that moment.
Yeah.
I can't.
Mhm.
Mind boggles me how we get so wrapped up.
Yeah. And it's another beautiful practice to do that I always I'm inviting people to do is like in your journal. So like draw a line down the center of the page, and on one side you write things that you want more of in your life,
Yeah.
and on the other side things that you want less of in your life. And
Okay.
so it's nice to do it. It's nice to have it and even like put it somewhere. So
Yeah.
in those moments where you feel like you've lost yourself, or you've just totally, the train is off the tracks, you come back and be like, okay, yeah, I want more of this. Okay, what's something that I can do right now? And that can be the simple thing of like, okay, more water, less alcohol, more movement, less like couch potato, less like just being on the couch,
Yeah.
more like reading my book, less time scrolling on my phone,
Yeah.
more trying new things, less, being stuck in a rut, more like, going and seeing new places. It's like it's small things. And this is another thing that I love to share as well, as one of my teachers shared it with me. So it's KISS, keep it short and simple.
Oh, okay. Yeah. 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 That's very true. That's very,
Yeah.
very true. Yeah. Actually, it was funny if you were talking about phones and things, and I was going to bring this up. This is mad. I know this
Yeah.
girl. I won't mention her name, but I know this girl, and this isn't bad or anything. But she was telling me the other day. We were talking about, the scrolling through social media, and people aren't present, and they're doing
Mhm.
it in restaurants and this and that. And she said that the way she lies in bed, and the weight of
Yeah.
the Pro Max iPhone that she has. She says that she kind of has her hand down like a tilt, right, while she's on the phone. And she's
Oh
now
yeah.
she's now started, she's done it so much over the last few years. She's now getting pains without her phone in, even just being relaxed. Without her phone in her hand, being in relaxed position, she's now getting pains because she's held that weight of the phone in a weird position for
So
so
much.
long. That's mental. That's mental.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
D-
But this is the thing. This is why embodiment is so important,
mhm.
because catching yourself.
Catching yourself, as in,
Yeah.
what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, catching yourself, because we can so easily, like I'm talking about, having your relationship with your body and your spine and your breath. But if you recognize, okay, like she recognized that like now she's having like issues with her hands. Do you know? It's
Yeah.
like I don't even know what it's called now, but I remember seeing it a while ago, because so many people are on their phones and the head is down like this, that like they're actually having like deformities in
Jesus
their necks.
Christ, man, that's insane. That is insane.
Yeah.
God. And,
It
and
is.
it's
It's
so true. Like the
but
amount
we need to take responsibility. We
how do
need to
you
take responsibility of like realizing the impact of our behaviors. You know,
yeah,
nobody's going to do that for us.
no, no.
But the thing is that I suppose in a sense it's like the way the world is,
Mm,
that in a sense I'm like they like don't want us to be empowered, you know,
hmm.
want us that like, you know, we're just like, you know, mindlessly scrolling so that we're easily um controlled.
Yeah, controlled.
No?
The algorithms, man, those bloody algorithms, they've got us all hooked. All hooked. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Actually, and you know, we're nearly out of time here, but actually, can you tell us actually? So you've got, and by the way, for any of our listeners, I'll put Fiona's descriptions and her whatever she wants me to put in about, you know, explaining your business, etc. and
Yeah.
stuff, and links
Yeah.
and anything. I'll put all that in the description anyway, folks. But Fiona, can you tell us exactly what you do, so if anybody wants to check you out?
There's so many layers, so many layers. Um,
Or
so yeah,
we know what you do, sorry, but the, you know, exactly what the services that you're providing right now.
yeah. So I'm a yoga teacher. I'm also a Pilates teacher. I'm a transformational breathwork facilitator. I'm also a divine alignment body worker. So I've been working with bodies for almost 17 years now. And that's a combination of everything that I've been learning through the years. And I work very much intuitively as well. So this is probably like a whole other like podcast, but in human design, I'm a mental projector. So I'm a guide and visionary, but I'm wide open. So with that, it's the gift that I have the ability to tune into what is going on for the person that I'm supporting. And I receive visionary guidance to support them in basically coming back to their soul's highest expression. And so I use oils and elixirs that I make myself as well to support all of the work and the journeys that I do. And what else? Yeah, I'm also a chef. So
Oh,
I cook
man,
for
we missed
retreats.
talking about that.
I run
Okay.
retreats. I know there's
Oh,
many
man.
like I said, there's a lot. But basically, you know, for me, my mission is returning people back to their natural states of bliss and to truly know how magnificent that they are. So it's about embodiment, empowerment, and authenticity. And so I have so many different tools to support people
Do you
on
do you
their journey,
have
really personalized.
sorry, do you have a website?
I do, yeah. It's healthyfiona.net.
Perfect, perfect. And then yeah,
But
because
yeah,
I remember
soon
like
a day coming, but we haven't I haven't taken the full leap yet for my new name, but
right,
it's come
okay.
through.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'll put the web link as well in your in the description as well. So,
Yeah.
um,
I mean,
the
and yeah, same on social media as Healthy Fiona.
I'm sorry, what is it? The
Healthy Fiona. I'm just saying on social media.
on social media, Healthy Fiona. Yeah, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. So that's it. So yeah, like I work with individuals online, in person. I also guide couples in like learning how to take care of each other's bodies through massage, through rituals, and yeah, different ways of communication and intimacy, and just getting playful as well.
And
So yeah.
do you run courses online or is it in person classes? What do you?
I do both. Yeah. Like at the moment, I'm doing like a second round of what's called Discover the Power of Gentle Rituals. So yeah, just guiding through people for 30 minutes in the morning of some rituals that's really like anchoring in your heart, really grounding into the body, setting intentions of how you're intending to show up for your day, for your life. And it really is having such profound effects and benefits for the people that are in the space. So,
Cool.
yeah, very
Cool.
exciting.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. Well, listen, hopefully we can do another podcast soon and we can talk about
Sure.
shifts. We go into more detail and, if you've any other plans, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, the wild, weird, and wonderful life that I live.
It sounds cool, man. And I mean, you've always been fit. Like, you've got a great body, you've got great fitness, great, obviously very good looking girl, great looking girl. Hopefully it works now. Hopefully it works for
Yeah,
you. And
yeah.
oh, and sorry, and you're based in Cork City, right?
I'm based in Cork, but I'm still moving around. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect, perfect. Well, listen, what I'll do is, can you stay online? I'm literally just gonna, the moment I actually press stop on this recording,
Yeah.
the screens will still be on. So I'll just have a
Okay.
quick chat to you after I press stop here. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
All right. Thanks everybody listening. Bye. All right. Listen. Thanks for that. You
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you. Listen, what I'm going to do.